So I'm obviously a man of a certain age. I'm in my 50s, and I graduated from college in 1988, and I had a job in Connecticut in the New Haven area. My first job after college, and um, I, I lived in an apartment, and I could tell some stories about that. But anyhow, after a year, I was in a situation that required me to get out of there kind of quickly. And I found an apartment in Branford, Connecticut, which is, I think it was like 15 minutes from New Haven. And it was a really, so here I am, I'm 23. And it was a very exciting time, probably one of the best years of my life moving into this new apartment. It was a 7-bedroom house in Branford, and it was a block from the ocean. And there were 6 other guys living in this house, and they ranged in age from, so I was 23. I think there was someone who might have been 22, and the oldest person was 42. And they're all great guys. We had such a great time. And the thing about this house was this had been sort of a resort area in the early 1900s for very wealthy people. So the house that we lived in was actually for like servant staff, you know. So it was only designed to be lived in during the summertime, and it had no insulation, no heat. So, so, so there's a lot there. So anyhow, so I lived with these 7 guys, and we just had a hell of a time. I mean, it was fantastic. So, we we used to have these parties, and one of the 7 of us, his name is Dan. Dan, forgive me if you ever see this video, but Dan, he managed the whole house, right? And he was like the business guy. So if someone moved out and then someone moved in, you know, they had to work with Dan, and Dan would vet them, and they'd sign the agreement with Dan, you know. And Dan, I guess Dan maintained the relationship with the owner. Um, but Dan was very entrepreneurial, and Dan listened to a lot of those motivational audio cassette programs, like I guess Tony Robbins. I had never heard of Tony Robbins when I moved in, but I learned who he was through Dan. And Dan would attend like the paid seminars, you know, with people like Tony Robbins put on. And I so again, this is the late 80s, and this was a really big thing back then, right? There was a lot of this, everything was success oriented, and there was a lot of this motivational stuff going on. And these seminars that Dan attended, they would tell people to write down their goals and to like hang them up. So if you went into Dan's bedroom, he had these index cards like taped all over his walls with his goals, and it would say things like marry a millionaire by the age of 36, or own a Mercedes, buy a Mercedes by the age of 34, right? Make $1 million by this age. And there are a lot of the, you know, very specific goals like that. And I thought this whole motivational thing was a big joke, and I thought it was hilarious, you know. So we'd have these big parties. I mean, they get crazy, and it'd be people from, you know, because the oldest person was 42, Pete. The age range of the parties was like from, you know, kids at Yale, you know, still students, all the way up to people in their 60s, you know. We have these ruckus parties. And after I'd had a few drinks at these parties, I would secretly give guests tours of Dan's bedroom. So, and read to them, read to them the goals. So, and I'd take people up 2 at a time, and like people would be falling on the floor laughing, clutching their stomachs. And recently, one of the other guys who lived in the house, about a year, I think it was about a year ago, he contacted me, and we hadn't spoken since like 1989 or 1990. And he lives in Hawaii now. And we had several conversations. And through the course of these phone calls, I mentioned, we're talking about what a great time we had in this house. I mentioned, I was explaining to him that I used to give these tours. And he goes, "Oh, you took me on one of those tours." So anyhow, Dan, I really do apologize if you ever see this video, but it was pretty funny.